Hi everybody, welcome to our event tonight. I'm Lital Slonim, and together with my husband Yehuda, we will be your host this evening. Nachala Settlement Movement is delighted to be partnering with Mizrahi Organization and Caulfield Hebrew Congregation. Yehuda and I have both been actively involved in Nachala Settlement Movement for over 15 years, and in fact, that was our shadchan, matchmaker. Today, we are the proud parents of 3 children and living in a beautiful community of Neria in the Shomron. We are privileged to have with us this evening Daniela Weiss, the director of Nachala Settlement Movement, Danny Lamb, president of Mizrahi Organization Australia, and David Mond, president of Caulfield Hebrew Congregation. In addition, we have Zeev and Gila Slonim, who are part of our PR and international team in Nachala. Nachala Settlement Movement has been working for many years to strengthen the Jewish people within its homeland, with an emphasis on Yehuda and Shomron, the heart of Israel. The support of the Jewish community all over the world is vital for us to maintain and strengthen our stronghold on Eretz Israel. Tonight, we are excited to bring a special piece of Yehuda and Shomron to Australia, while at the same time bringing Australia closer to Yehuda and Shomron. To this end, we have asked Yael Shevach to join us, as she has and does sacrifice a great deal in order to hold on to the beauty of life and her family, while at the same time holding on to the land of Israel. We will open this evening with Minister Omer Yankelevich, who passed a resolution in Knesset to maintain the future of the Jewish nation, including a long-term plan to strengthen the relationship with the Jewish people in the diaspora. Minister Yankelevich sees great importance to meeting with the community in Australia and has expressed her deep appreciation for the very warm ties between the Australian Jewish community and Israel. In her task as Minister of Diaspora, she has been called overseas this evening in the last minute and is not able to participate in person. Of course, she didn't want to miss out on opening this event tonight, so she sent us her blessing, which we will share with you.
Erev Tov v'shalom lechulam. It is a pleasure to join the greater Australian Jewish community for this important discussion on Yehuda v'Shomron. The Jewish people share a common past, present, and future. Throughout history, our texts, traditions, and values have unified us around a common destiny. But no matter where we have lived in the world or what language we spoke, the Jewish people have also been connected and rooted in something else, a deep love and longing for Eretz Israel. In recent years, we have all been witness to a modern miracle as the Jewish people return to our internal homeland and build the vibrant democracy that is the State of Israel. Moving forward, we must continue to strengthen and support the land of Israel, the people of Israel, and the bridges between us. Our place in Israel and yours in Australia are equally valued in ensuring our future as a Jewish people united by a common destiny. Wishing you all only health and the opportunity to soon visit each other in person, whether in your community or here in Israel. Toda raba v'Pesach kasher v'sameach.
And we thank Minister Yankelevich for inspiring words. It is my pleasure to call upon our very good friend, Danny Lamb, president of Mizrahi Organization. Through his many public roles for the Jewish communities, he has advanced the relationships between and strengthened of the Australian Jewish community with Israel. Danny, please unmute yourself.
I've done so, and Yehuda and Lital, shkoyach for your activities. You brought this evening to us all, and I'm delighted that we have participation from Yehuda Israel, obviously Melbourne, but also Sydney and Gershon. You're in Tassie, I heard. So, kol hakavod, great that we have this representation. And we also have, I see Steve Lieblich over in Perth, and others. So that's terrific. I think we're all united in understanding that the heartland of Medina Israel is Yehuda Shomron. That's our background. That's where Avot were. Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. And the land was purchased there that nobody could afterwards say, the listing will come and say, we don't own that land. We bought that land. And when that land was bought, it was bought L'Dorot. It was bought for our people all over. Now, I was asked to say a few words about Yehuda Shomron and about the religious Zionist movement and its support of these areas. And it's very fascinating because there are several examples of kibbutzim and yeshuvim that were established by other movements that struggled. And then religious Zionists came in, took them over, and made them grow. I don't want to steal any of David Mond's time when he talks about kakal, about making things grow. But that's what these people have done. And so all over the place, if you look at Shchunat HaZeitim, for example, 40 or 50 families outside Yerushalayim on Har HaZeitim, and we think of the benevolence of the late Moscovich, who made this happen. If we look at Ir David, we had a Melbourne Shaliach, Aaron Horowitz, who was part of that growth. The Shchunat HaTeimanim, Silwan. Right now in Silwan, a property was bought by our Terikonim to return a shul and a Jewish presence in that area. I know a little bit about the background of that. And if we go to a place like Efrat, Rav Riskin, who took a garin, Tommy Lamb, my cousin, was one of those people, 12 people, and we look at a situation now of 13,000 people living in Efrat, creating a fantastic environment for families to live and live a strong, committed Jewish religious Zionist life. Neve Daniel and Elazar, and maybe go up to the Shomron and look at Psagot, overlooking Ramallah, and see the devotion of people there and some of the growth. One of our first Bachurim in our Kolel Torah Mitzion, Yaakov Berg, came from there and went back to there and set up the Psagot winery, which is now a very popular and successful place. Har Bracha, overlooking Shechem. How gutsy is that? And if you look at those sort of settlements, Ofra, established in 1975, I was there the day it started. Bet El. If we look at Ariel, and what a strongly Zionist university that is. You don't get left-wing philosophy flowing out of that. You get strong commitment to B'nai Israel. And one of the beautiful things is I notice that students, whether they're Dati or not, kissing the mezuzah on the way of going out of the halls of lectures. It's an unbelievable thing. So if we think back all the way back to the purchase of Har HaMoriah, to the purchase of Shechem, to the purchase of Hebron, our people have built this land, and Nachala is the movement that will guarantee not only the future of the area, but it will do it by constantly reminding our Israeli government of what the Ikar is and not the Tafel, the really critical thing to do to maintain the homeland, Eretz Israel Hashlema. Lital Yedidia, thanks for giving me the opportunity. Our Mizrahi community is very committed to what you're doing and what's going on in Yehuda Shomron, and we wish you only success. Michael El Chayil. Erev Tov, everybody.
Thank you, Danny, for your warm words. You are a good friend of Nachala, you are a good friend of the settlement, and we thank you for this. So thank you very much. Nachala settlement movement enjoying a very close relationship with David Mond. I remember clearly our first meeting with him a number of years ago. and his important vision. They will talk to us about the past, the present, and the future. The future is the land redemption, which Nachala movement is actively involved. But as we create the future, we remember and learn from the past and the present. David, I want you to know that I am taking this concept on board. Please unmute yourself. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lital. I hope you can hear everyone. Thank you, Danny. If everybody had the same knowledge that you had, we'd be a lot wiser, and having you as a spokesperson is terrific. I probably want to personalise a little bit and give an Australian look from what I want to say, and let me explain why actually I am a proud member of the Nachala movement, not just because Daniel Wise and Yehuda and Lital are unbelievable people, but there is a personal conviction, and we must never forget it. People top and look at us and think, oh, they're extreme. No, we just have an unwavering conviction and belief. But I thought, allow me to quote you a description of the highest meaning of land in relation to its owners. So here's a quote. Land relates to all aspects of existence: culture, spirituality, language, law, family, and identity. The people are entrusted with the knowledge and responsibility to care for their land, providing a deep sense of identity, purpose, and belonging. Now, you might think that this is a perfect description of what the land of Israel means to the children of Israel, including our inherited connection to Yehuda Shomron. But actually, believe it or not, this description I just quoted was applied to describe the connection between Australian Indigenous Aborigines to the land of Australia. In Australia, we recognise that the spirits of the ancestors of the Indigenous Aborigines are passed on from generation to generation and are bound with the land. For Indigenous Australians, this spiritual and physical connection to the land has been recognised as delivering an inherent right to own the land. Similarly, the children of Israel, we have a spiritual connection with the land. As we know, we reference every day in Tefillah to our forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and their covenant with God, confirming the biblical authorization to inherit the land given to us by God. These land rights have been passed on from generation to generation. And we need to diffuse people who question us. And the High Court of Australia validated the claims by Indigenous Australia to land rights. So did the Mandate for Palestine. We must remember in 1922, through the League of Nations, laid down the Jewish legal right to settle anywhere in Western Palestine, the area between Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea, an entitlement unaltered in international law. So, having understood this position, people ask me, what can we do to demonstrate our commitment to a dominant, growing, and secure Jewish future for Yehuda Shomron? And I say to you, the simple answer is participate in land redemption. In the year of miracles, when Arab states' sworn enemies are now recognized in Israel, our idea is now achieving mainstream recognition in Israel itself. In an historical first, we know that Karen Kayemet gave its initial approval recently for a wide-ranging plan to purchase private Palestinian property for settlement building, but delayed, we know, the final approval until after the March elections. But just to get to that point is itself in one way a miracle. And I want to say on a personal note, you might ask, well, what about yourself? Well, I have purchased land in Yehuda Shomron, and I'll give you the four main reasons why. First, we need to show leadership to the generation that follow. We, the generation born after World War II, may not be able to fulfill or witness in our lifetime the completion of God's prophecy of inheriting all the land. It is, however, I believe, our utmost duty to send a clear message to the generations of our children, grandchildren, and beyond that this task is our collective future, mission, and destiny. The generations that follow will need to take ownership of this objective to fulfill our rightful destiny. Secondly, and more of our Jewish people return to Israel, many under the duress of rising anti-Semitism and so-called anti-Israelism, it is becoming a matter of urgency that Israel be restored to all of its original God-promised land. Thirdly, from a commercial aspect, for those that think about the dollar value, it's a no-brainer. Have we not witnessed long-held rural agricultural land being rezoned to residential and the massive increase in value? So I'd say get in while the land is relatively inexpensive. And finally, when one reaches 120 years of age and passes on to the next world, the question will be asked of all of us. Why did you not redeem the land when you could have done so? An opportunity denied to the Jewish people for thousands of years. I suggest that one does not want to suffer the embarrassment of trying to answer that question. So tonight, I'm delighted to inform you that as part of the process of education and getting people involved, the Nachala movement is providing an opportunity to acquire a parcel of land in Yehuda Shomron. It'll be offered as part of a raffle. Information concerning participation will be sent to all participants in tonight's presentation, and would ask everyone to get involved and chance your luck, and hopefully you'll get that parcel of land. To conclude, we are in the diaspora have an obligation to support in whatever way possible this mission and process of land redemption. Certainly, after listening, no doubt we will hear the story of Yael Shevach, and I know a little bit of background there. Our support in the holy work of land redemption has to be the ultimate manifestation of Ahavat Yisrael, love of land, as well as our people. May Nachala, together with the JNF, hopefully be blessed to engage in financial settlements, the transfer of the land to us, as well as to our brothers and sisters in Israel. Mustn't forget them, they need to buy land as well. So we may ultimately witness the full Gula in both the land of Israel and in the children of Israel speedily in our days. Support Nachala, support buying land in Israel. Thank you.
Fantastic, David. I think we should just give a special call out to Avram Duldavani, the head of Kakao, who's the one who reached out and started this process. It did start earlier, but he's the one who had the guts to do it. His background is World Mizrahi. So, biyachad.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Danny. I think this JNF decision is very meaningful for the future of Eretz Israel. It gives further proof to the activities in which Nachala has been involved for so many years. We are preparing groups of families, otherwise known as Garinim, the same like Danny mentioned before, to become communities that will establish young townships in the vast mountains of Yehuda and Shomron. Sorry. I imagine that your question will be, to which areas are these Garinim actually going? For this, I will give you two answers. The first is that some of these groups will be establishing communities on the government-owned land, and other groups will be settling lands that has been redeemed by Nachala. Indeed, Nachala movement is very active in purchasing land from Arabs and then turning the land into Jewish homes for Jewish communities. An example of land that has been redeemed is Chavat Gilad, which is in the western part of the Shomron. Chavat Gilad was established on land purchased by Moshe Zal, and today is a thriving community which is home for many young Jewish families. It is really a great honor for us to have Yael Shevach with us. Yael, say hello. With us tonight. She is one of the residents of Chavat Gilad. Just 3 years ago, when her husband, Rav Raziel Shevach, was returning home after conducting a Brit in Kdumim, the close township, he was gunned down by terrorists in the entrance to his township. Yael chose to continue living in her home in Chavat Gilad and to continue her husband's legacy of looking at life through a positive and ideological perspective. So today, Yael is bringing up their family of 6 children on her own. She has a remarkable story of courage and joy to share with us. Yael, please unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I have to say it's the first time I speak in English with people, and I'm very happy to tell my story every time to everyone. I think it's very important to understand the situation here when you hear a story like mine. I think I will tell you about my place here in Chavat Gilad, my home, and after you understand where we live, I hope I will could tell you the story about the murder of my husband. So here I am, Yael Shevach. I live here in Chavat Gilad. I have six children. My big one is 14, and the little one is 4. And to the calculation of the all age children. We came here 10 years ago after we married and lived in Sderot. It was a very hard time after the התנתקות from Gush Katif if you remember it, and we just married and lived in Sderot and decided to come close to the family. My family is from Kfar Saba. The family of my husband is from Holon, and we decided to come close. And here in the Shomron, it's more close. I know it's more dangerous, but in the time that I talk about, Sderot was most dangerous than here. But when we come here, we saw a little village, very happy people, warm people, some lovely place with a view, a big view that charmed us very much. And this is why we came here. Of course, we have the ideology that we decided to come here. But we had a little problem. When we came here, it was 10 family in this, 20 family in this place. And like Didier told, Chavat Gilad is a village that in the land of a Jew man, Moshe Zar, who bought it before Skeme Oslo, and decided to build here a village because his son was murdered here in the road, and his son Itai decided to come here and with his family and all little boy, I don't know how to call them, with Tnuat Nachala, they decided to build this Yishuv, Chavat Gilad. We came here after 10 years that Chavat Gilad was on the land, but the government didn't didn't give anything to Chavat Gilad. I translate some word, infrastructure, you know what it means. And we didn't have electricity like all the people in Israel, water, roads, everything was with only donation. And it was very hard to live here in the first. It's still hard, but much better. But when we come here, all the electricity and the water was the big problem of being here. I can tell you that when it's very cold here, we need to decide if we want to open the climate or to make a cake for Shabbos, because we cannot make the two
electrical.
We cannot have two what
electrical machines.
Electrical machines, because it doesn't work here. It doesn't can work here. It's the same thing with the water. If we have a little problem with the water here, so we can stay 3 days, sometimes 3 days without water. The only way to have water is to pay. I'm telling you about 6 years ago, not something like 18. It's 6 years ago. If we want to have water, we need to pay to some driver who go to Kdumim, that is the village next to us, and he give water to Chavat Gilad with a big camion. And this is the only way that we can have water. All the people in Chavat Gilad are people who built by themselves their houses. We are the only person in Chavat Gilad who didn't do this. When we came here, my husband and I, two people, we weren't with possibility of build, because my husband was avrech. He was learning Torah all the day. He was very close to the Torah. He was always search how to study people, to learn Torah, and to close people, to get close people to Hashem and to the Avodat Hashem. But we didn't know how to build the house. So the people here in Chavat Gilad built our home, and we tried to involve ourselves inside Chavat Gilad. It was very with a lot of shlichut to make Chavat Gilad a place with תוכן רוחני, תעזרו לי.
Spiritual input.
Spiritual what?
Input. Content.
It was like the rabbi here in Chavad Gilad. I say like the rabbi because Chavad Gilad isn't legal, so we couldn't have
official rabbi.
An official rabbi, but he made here all the things that in everywhere a rabbi do. And he has a lot of הכשרות. Sorry, I'm very bad.
Training, it's fine. You're doing very, very well.
Thank you. Training,
correct.
Yeah, so he had a lot of training in the Torah. He was a mohel, he was a shochet, he was a sofer stam. He had nine הכשרות, okay, what do you say? He was סופר סתם, משגיח כשרות, מורה הוראה, בחברה קדישה, everywhere that people need something with their religious, he were there, and all that things that he didn't do for getting money. It was something very from shlichut that he decided he want to do. And when we get here, we came here, it was very naturally for him to be the rabbi, not officially like we said, but all the people here knew that if you need a mohel, you can come to Raziel. If you need a shochet, you can come to Raziel. If you have some problem with the meal you bought, you can come to him and show him, and he can tell you if it's kasher or not kasher. Sometimes we had a problem with the electricity in Shabbat. Sometimes the electricity, sometimes I said sometimes like it's not something who happen every Shabbat, but this is every Shabbat from 6 years ago. Every Shabbat we had a problem with the electricity that always fall down because of the problem of the infrastructure that we have here. And Raziel was the first person who decided to write a psak halacha if we can restart the electricity or not, because this is a big question with a lot of problem that if it's cold or if it's hot or if you have a pregnant woman or if you have I don't know, a sick person, all the problem, Raziel decided to get in and make a discovery, a big research for decide if we can or not to restart the electricity. And Baruch Hashem, six years ago, something happened. I don't know, maybe a pressure that we made on the government. Some things changed, and now we have much better from this issue. But it was from him and from me a very a mission for life to make Chavad Gilad a place that not only have houses here, but what we call a quality of life, a lot of quality of life, because we are religious people. So it's very important to us that the quality of life is with the religion, and this is what he did here every day and every time, with a lot of happiness and very great life. And he decided to touch everyone with always with food, kamovan. Food is always something that we can. He decided to make a Seudat Rosh Chodesh every Rosh Chodesh, and Hilula every time that we have some rabbi who died. I don't even know the name, but he decided that tonight we do alaesh for all the Yishuv, because we want to show them that the religion is something that it's kef, it's fun, it's something that everyone can be and can want to be. It wasn't only in Chavad Gilad. This a character of my husband was something very, everyone knew it. Everyone would touch him, who saw him, would talk with him, could tell that this is what he always show to people a very good smile and a very life that happen for the fun and for the avodat Hashem besimcha and with the spiritual life. I call it mesirut nefesh, and I know that you know that this musag, mesirut nefesh, is something that we know it about Rabbi Akiva and our soldier and everyone. And I have to tell to Tnuat Nachala and to everyone that mesirut nefesh, it's not always need to be something that you have to die for it. I know that in our people, we always say that we love the life and we love to have a good life and a mashmauti. I don't know how to say it. Meaningful, yes. You told me this yesterday. A life with a lot of meaningful. But sometimes we like Jewish people, we know to tell that mesirut nefesh, it's something that you have to die for it, and I think it's not true, because the life we live here and the life I think you too in your communities, every Jewish that decide to live a life with of life, I think it's mesirut nefesh, and to live here in Chavat Gilad, for me it's a good life, and I know we have a quality life, but I know it's mesirut nefesh, and when I say that, I have no choice to tell you that in my case, it's a mesirut nefesh that we need to lekasher, to connect, yes, with death, because 3 years ago, when my husband was back from Tel Aviv, not from Kdumim, he had a Brit Milah in Tel Aviv. My husband was he loved to make a Brit Milah, and he was very lovely mohel. He came to people who asked him to do Brit Milah. Everywhere, every time. He never said no to a Brit Milah, even if it was in Rosh Hashanah or in Pesach or in Shabbat or in Dimona, Elat. Everywhere we had a call to a Brit Milah, Raziel say yes. And he didn't come to a Brit Milah, only to the ceremony. He came to a Brit Milah three times. Once before the Brit, a few days before, to show the mother that he's a good people, and he have a smile, and he know how to hold the baby in the ceremony, Kamuvan. And one day after, because he was a securist, he was chovesh, and he knew that for medical, to give a medical support to a baby, it's something that's very important to the person, to the parents who make a Brit Milah. So he was back from a Brit like this, and from Tel Aviv. And the time is 8 o'clock, and we had to have a Shiur Torah in our home that Raziel organized. I knew that he had to come back, and I called him to know exactly where he is, because all the food from the Shiur Torah was in his car, and I wanted to know if I'm the one who invite the people to come to the Shiur Torah. He answered me very quickly to the phone and tell me I was shot, and I hear and I'm joined, and I need to someone need to come and help me. It was very clear, so I thought it's something not so bad, but I immediately called the 911 and all the security, and texted to the groups in Chavat Gilad to tell that it was a terrorism attack inside of Chavat Gilad. Very quickly, people come to him from Chavat Gilad, and ambulance from the army that wasn't so was very next to him. My family here, that it was 8 o'clock, so everyone was at bed, but my children didn't sleep, so they hear that something is happening, and they came after me, running after me, and telling me what's going on. Tell us what with father, what with dad, and I didn't know what to tell them. But Chasdei Hashem, I wasn't. I thought that it's okay, and I wasn't excited from the situation. So I said them, sit down and we make teilim something, but we don't have to be stressed. It will be okay. My home, all my friends are coming at my home. All my neighborhood, they come. Everyone come with um, some things and some things, games to give to the children that could let them be good, not so stressed, so in stress. And I went to the hospital with my little child, Benayahu. He was 10 months, and I drive to the hospital with an ambulance driver who took me from my home. All the way, I didn't have any idea of what happened there, but I didn't thought for any minute that this is the story of my life. When we got to the car, I asked the driver to stop the ambulance and give me his tefillin. It was night, but I knew that no matter what the injury that he has, the tefillin, he needs the tefillin tomorrow. I didn't thought from any moment that maybe he couldn't have the tefillin because he will be dead. So we get to the hospital, and after a few moments that I get inside the room, my parents was there, the parents of my husband was there, and the doctor come after me, and he told us that they couldn't do anything, and he was dead when he came to the hospital. And at this moment, everyone tried to, I don't even know what we tried to do. Everyone tried to cry, I tried to run away and to go back home, and I told to myself in my head that everything will be okay, and the Shur Torah is going to happen, and something in my head I couldn't understand, couldn't get, and that it's the end. So after a few moments that I sat and I tried to explain to myself what is going on, what's going on now and what will happen now. It's impossible to explain this. After a few moments, come to talk to me, Yossi Dagan. He is the Rosh HaMoatza from Shomron here, and he was with me all the way from Chabad Gilad to the hospital. And he came to me to ask me a question, a very hard question that I have to get the answer. I have to get the answer. A little girl, 32 years, and I have to answer him. Where do I want to bury him? And it was, I didn't know how to answer this question because I didn't even understand that I'm a widow and the question is about me. So I looked at my grandfather, the father of my husband, Moshe, and I asked him, well, I have to decide this thing. And he said me yes, and everyone there was with the eyes to me. So I understand that I have to get the side of this decision. And I will explain you something. When they asked me this question, they wanted to know where each Bet Almin, how will you say?
Cemetery.
A cemetery. Cemetery? Yes. Which cemetery I choose to bury my husband. But when they say that it's because someone would die in the terrorism attack or in some reason of Leumi, we have the privilege to decide where to, every cemetery is open to us. But when I say every cemetery is open to us, is where it is not Chavat Gilad, because in Chavat Gilad there is no cemetery, because Chavat Gilad is a very young place, and Chavat Gilad is not a legal place. These two reasons is the problem that we have for a lot of things, but about the cemetery is because no one thought that we will have, we will need a cemetery in the 10 years ago, because the most מבוגר,
oldest.
The oldest person here is 50 years. And so no one thought that we will need a cemetery. But when he asked me this question, I don't know. I'm still thinking from where the straight come, but this is what I asked. I wanted them to bury him here in Chavat Gilad, and this is what I asked, to have to build a cemetery here. It was night, 11 at night, and B'chasdei Shamayim, they decide to say okay to this, and the army also, and the government, everyone, no one has the courage to tell me no. Baruch Hashem. And they decide to build a cemetery here. Of course, it's not like all the cemetery to decide to build here something. It's very hard, because we live in like Daniela Weiss say, like in Har Trashim Kereach. It's some mountain with a lot of bones, and it's
view.
not.
You have a lot of view.
Yes, we have view. And to build something here, it's a very hard mission. But all the people here in Chavat Gilad, when they heard that we decide to build a cemetery and to bury Raziel here, all the people here that were in their Evel, how many Evel?
Morning.
They were in a big mourning for losing their friend and their rabbi and their neighbor. When they hear that we want to build a cemetery here, all the people, it's 2:00 everyone come to the place that they decide to build the cemetery, and try, and all of them with their hand try to started to build this place. And it was, I know the word is not very matim, very suitable. But we were very excited in the morning when I come here after we sleep at Kfar Saba in my parents' home. When we came here, it was very excited to see Chavat Gilad with a lot of tractors that before this murder, no one could get a tractor without a lot of army that come and try to stop him to build, I don't know even what. But when I come here at 11 in the morning and I saw the cemetery that they built at the night, everyone here in Chavat Gilad were part of this cemetery. It was a very excited
feelings.
It was very excited feelings, because I was in my morning very hardest, and I knew that I lose the love of my life, and I knew the father of my children. I knew this is the very hard thing to. I couldn't לתרגם, translate my feelings, because it was two great feelings that came together. It was the feeling of losing a big part of my life, and the other side, to see this village, my home, getting more and more built in the night, and after this, in all the Shiva, they didn't stop to build a lot of houses in this week. And today, 3 years after this, I see all of the life that we live from the moment that my husband passed away. I can tell you that all the time, I can tell you that people who lost someone, all they want to do from all of their life is to get him back. This is the feeling that you cannot fight them. You always want to feel him, if it's with the children, and if it's with his friends, and if it's with the missions that you do all the time. And when you lose someone so infectual in the life, and so big and so living, so now when I look at my life from the 3 years, I can understand that this is what I always try to do, is to live my life twice, one for me and one for him. And because he was someone with a lot of life, so it's a mission with a lot of responsibility. And this is what I do now. For 3 years after we decide to build the cemetery here, and all the Shiva, from 7 days, all the politics who came here, the politicians who came here, when someone gets shot in a terrorism attack, so all the politicians are coming here, and we decide to ask them and to say them that the only thing that will
confident
us is if Chavad Gilad will be legal, and will get permission from the government to be a big place to live here, a legitimation to live here. And it happened after 3 weeks. Medinat Israel decide to give Chavad Gilad official permission to be here. It's not the end of the story, because we are still 3 years after it, and we have a lot of problems here, and we have the permission to be here, and the official words of the Rosh HaMemshala, but finally we still have problems here with electricity and water and internet and everything, with a lot of hard build. But now I'm telling you about me and my children. I know that the life I chose to live now, it's not a decision קל. איך אומרים משימה קלה?
Easy mission.
סליחה, ברוכות לי מילים. It's not an easy mission. It's not an easy decision to decide to live a life with happiness and with meaning, and still stay here after all we all happen here, and not stay here just to live and to be something we're not involved. I'm trying to be everywhere I can, everywhere, like I told you, everywhere I can feel my husband, everywhere I do, and I know he's proud of us, proud of me, proud of his parents, proud of his children. And Baruch Hashem, we have a lot of help and a lot of people here who want to be a part of our life, and they want to be a part of the living here in Chavad Gilad, and the meaning live in the Shomron, and with the Torah, of course, and everywhere that I can feel make me happy and משמעותית, אמרנו? איך אומרים משמעותית?
Meaningful.
Where I can be meaningful, and where I can, I know that people can listen and maybe get straight from the thing I say, and the thing I do, and the thing my community do. Like I said, Baruch Hashem, we had a lot of help, and I want to finish with a pasuk in Tehillim that we decided to write on his kever,
grave.
His grave. We decided to write the pasuk, אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית השם לאורך ימים. It's from Tehillim, that David HaMelech asking to God give him only a goodness and chesed to be in his life. And this is what I asking for God and for you and to everyone, that always be researched by tov, goodness, and chesed, and then we will have the last of the pasuk, "Shavti bevet Hashem laorach yamim," and we will have the zchut to see geula shlema b'mehera b'yameinu. Thank you very much, and if you have question, I'm here and I can listen.
Thank you. Yael, I love you. we are neighbors.
Yes.
Chavat Gilad and Gdomim are neighboring the community.
Daniela was the first person here in Chavat Gilad, but before Chavat Gilad were here. The first Chavat Gilad were in the Tzomet next to Gdomim, after the pigua of Gilad Zar, and Daniela got their big caravan that here in Chavat Gilad with Shimon family live there, and we have a lot of feeling with Daniela.
We have time for 1 or 2 questions. So if anybody wants to ask a question, they can unmute themselves and ask the question.
I'd like to hear something about this Hagrala, this lottery, this land purchase. So maybe David, if you've got the details, or whoever's got the details, let everybody hear it. And then Mitzvah Hashem will be able to promote it on our database for Mizrahi, which is quite extensive. And maybe David Caulfield will be able to do the same.
I'll give you some more details.
Just before we go into the lecture, if there is question for Yael, just if someone have question, we can ask those questions, and then Yedidia will give more details about the lecture.
Lottery.
Yael, can I ask you? Okay, you've taken this on board, and you're living in Chavat Gilad, and it's amazing, and you've seen some development. How do your children feel about that? Do they ever feel like, can't we go for the easy life, live in Kfar Saba, be safe? We sacrificed enough by living in Chavat Gilad.
Well, I'll tell you a story about this morning. My daughter, she all his class is in Bidud, so she decided she's not in Bidud because in what?
Bidud is isolation because of the corona.
Okay, so she's not in isolation because she were sick, and she decided to go to Kfar Saba with a friend to make shopping for Pesach. She's calling me now when I'm talking to you. She's calling me every moment. And the first call was, what is this place? Why people live in this place? This is so so mess here, and I want to go home. And every time when we go at Kfar Saba to my parents or to Cholon at their parents, my children, they look at the building and the roads, and they don't feel at home, because the life here is a very quality life. They're always outside. If we talk about the corona, I think my children didn't feel the big problem of the corona, because they were always outside. They were always with another neighbor, with their bike everywhere. And you're right, they don't know another life, another style of life. So I think that if we were live in somewhere that we had and I don't know, electricity and normal water, maybe they were possibility to say that it's not good to live here, but they don't know. And they have a lot of fun life here. So I think it, איך אומרים? זה מחפה.
Compensates.
Okay.
Compensates. Yeah.
Compensates. And I think they're happy. And they
Wow.
know that theology, they have the reason to live here.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any
Thank
more
you.
questions? Okay, so I just, before we go into the lottery, I just want to say, I wasn't planning to say it, but I was privileged to know Raziel. I learned with him in Yeshiva in Chavat Gilad for about a year. And I can say that what I have in my mind when I just think about Raziel is smiling. He was always smiling, always happy to help anybody. You didn't have to ask him twice. He'd always, if somebody was sad, he'd have a joke to tell him. He would always be first for anything. And as Yael said, when you needed a shochet, when you needed a moel, when you needed advice, when you needed everything, he was there. And I really take that with me. And we really want to thank Yael for her inspiring words. And
thank you very much.
Yes, and really it's drawing us, it's really, really touching. And hopefully we can all continue and learn from this a lot. I'd like to take to answer Danny for his question. So the aim of the lottery is to give more attention for this whole process of land redemption, because today anybody who's dealt a little bit with land redemption knows that it's a very complicated it's a very complicated process that's done behind the scenes. And you start the land process at one stage, and people hear about it 10 years after that, and they don't know. The only thing that somebody can do is buy part of the land, which is a very important part, but he can't be active in it. And we know today, one of the things that we were very surprised when we started dealing with land redemption is that the Arabs want to sell the land. We all think that the Arabs they're in a clash with us and they're fighting against the land, but that's not correct. Their leadership is fighting against us, but the popularity want to leave the land of Israel. They want to move. They want to immigrate. They want to move to Europe, to Canada, to different Arab states, and they just want to get the opportunity to move on to their lives, and we want to take that advantage, that opportunity, and turn it into Jewish land. And that's what we know throughout the history, the Jewish history, as Danny mentioned in the beginning, that we learned from Avraham Avinu and from Yosef, that he brought Me'arat HaMachpelah in Hebron, and from Yosef and from and David HaMelech, that all our forefathers were buying land because we know that this is our strongest connection. So we thought of an idea that for two main reasons. First of all, we wanted to give everybody the opportunity, an equal opportunity, even to taste, to be part of it. And second of all, is because we want to help continue the pressure on the government and more people to join it. And we know that the more people believe in this idea, the more people are actually part of this idea, it gives the government more strength to stand behind this thing and help and support and do it. Because if they know that this is what the Jews in Israel and abroad, everybody likes this idea and is part of this idea and puts in money towards this idea, it gives them the strength that when they have pressure from America or from Europe or from different Arab states to say, no, this is what the Jewish nation believes in, and we're going to stand behind it, and this is what we're going to do. So we thought of this raffle, this lottery, the idea to give people an opportunity that everybody can be part of it. Whoever wants can buy one ticket, tickets for the whole families, tickets for the kids, anybody. You can buy as many tickets as you want. I'm not going to go into all of the details of the lottery, but if I summarize it, the aim is that we're lottering a plot of land that's registered in the Israeli title that was redeemed from Arab. That's actually a very deep process of being redeemed from Arab, and the person who will be privileged to win this the block of land, he will get the land will be registered on his name, and it will be his, and he'll be part of the whole process together with the other people who bought the land. We'll send out to everybody here emails with all the details and the connection and everything. We'll send it out. And of course, David and Danny will send it out to the communities, to the Caulfield and to Mizrahi. And if anybody else wants to send it out anywhere else, we're more than happy. And if anybody else has ideas how we can get it to as many Jews around the world, we'll be very, very happy. So
Didier, 1 second. Dr. Danny Lamb asked a very simple question. He wants to know exactly how to promote it in his community. He also suggested in Caulfield. So you said we'll send 1 second. We'll send the details. It's very important to tell at this stage that actually every individual will buy 1 ticket. And,
at least 1 ticket.
One?
At least 1 ticket.
Ah, okay. You see, I'm learning the details of what we want to do. So every individual will buy at least 1 ticket, and then he can win a piece of land in a very important place in the Binyamin Mountains, where he will be able to build soon, we hope, his own home.
Just to clarify that we're speaking that this land will be on his name in the titles, the Israeli titles.
Okay. So
I want to add 1 point. Daniela mentioned that the land is in Binyamin, but we can't tell where this land is, right, because we're in the process of redeeming a few other plots of land around this block. And if people start knowing and this purchase goes out to the wrong ears, then the Arab can be in a very bad situation, and he can and the whole process will have to stop. And we don't want this to happen. So of course, the person who will win will know where his land is, but we can't tell everybody around where it is. We can only say that it's very close to one of the flourishing communities in the Binyamin region of the Shomron.
You did, yeah? Just if I can I just add something? Yes. First of all, 2 things I want to say. What Danny was asking, you would like to know the details, how many tickets there are, what is the chance of winning, and so on. So, and what's the price of a ticket? That's what he wanted to know. So you're going to forward that information, no doubt, to everyone here tonight, and we'll know and we'll be able to publicize it. The second thing I do want to say is, I've heard several times you say, put in the name in your name. My recommendation, if people think about it, and I think it has a deeper connection and a deeper meaning, if you actually put in the name of your children or grandchildren, because in Israel, it's not a problem in terms of family members, close family members, exchanging if there's a situation. But I think that sends, that's what I did. And I believe that sends a very clear message to the next generation. We want you to be part of this solution, want to be part of building Yehuda Shomron. And I think that's probably a better way of recommending what people might do in the circumstances and give them an opportunity to think about the future.
Wonderful idea. I think it's wonderful.
Yes. So I want to, yes, we will send out all the details. And I want to thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And on behalf of all of the Nachala members that are participating here and all over the world, we want to wish all of you Pesach Kasher V'Sameach, and we'll be in touch very, very soon. And we hope to see you on the next Zoom that we have very shortly. Thank you very much.
Israel. Why Zoom?
In Israel, you're right.
Thank you.
Kol hakavod, shkoyach.
Okay.
Good work.
Hag
Sameach,
guys.
Hag Sameach, Hag Sameach.
Thank you.
And thank you all for your good wishes that I got on the birth of my first grandson. So thank you very much for that.
Mazal.
Look forward to having a lachaim with you in Israel very soon.
Oh, yeah.
Amen. B'karov.
Thank you. Okay.
All the best. Thank you for joining me. Thank you.
להתראות. חג שמח.